Presidential candidate Vice President Leni Robredo reiterates she would not ally with anyone resorting to violence to advance their agenda. This amid efforts to red tag her and her supporters. Robredo says in a statement on Thursday, April 7, the false accusations that people in her campaign allegedly work with communist rebels are meant to derail the momentum of her bottom-up, volunteer-led campaign for the 2022 polls. Robredo issues the statement just a day after the latest Pulse Asia survey shows she rose by 9 points in March, climbing to a 24% preference rating. Robredo spokesperson Barry Gutierrez tells Rappler Robredo's statement is a response to the continued red tagging of the campaign and of volunteers, particularly on the ground. Several of her supporters have filed complaints against Communications Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy for her serial red tagging of Robredo. Badoy is the spokesperson of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC. Earlier in March, Cavite 8th District Representative Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla claimed some attendees of Robredo's big rally in General Trias City were supposedly members of communist groups. During Robredo's campaign trail at Leyte in end March, some streamers red tagging her were also placed on trees and posts surrounding the government center in Palo. The Philippine government now allows a negative antigen test result as entry requirement for travelers coming into the country. Presidential spokesperson Martin Andanar on Thursday, April 7, says it is permitted as long as the tests are administered and certified by a healthcare professional in a healthcare facility from the country of origin of the traveler. Before this announcement, the standing requirement for inbound fully vaccinated travelers is a negative result from a swab test taken 48 hours before departure. The Philippine government also dropped the quarantine mandate in February in a bid to boost tourism. Andanar adds, the vaccine certificates of Bangladesh, Mexico, Panama, and the Slovak Republic are now being recognized by the Philippines. The Philippines reopened its borders to tourists regardless of nationality on Friday, April 1. Immigration requirements still apply to travelers from non-visa-free countries.
Need more context, clarity, and perspective? Get the full picture with Rappler Plus. With exclusive content and events, you'll get an opportunity to discuss issues with reporters, experts, and featured guests while helping Rappler continue its fearless journalism. Join now.
Experts say Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s presidential campaign is reaping benefits from long-time disinformation machinery. In an episode of Rappler's On the Campaign Trail hosted by veteran journalist John Neri, UP College of Mass Communication Assistant Professor Fatima Gao says, disinformation is priming the audience to rationalize the Marcos lies and distortions.
Ultimately, and I think more potently, it's about empathizing with Marcos Jr. I know it's ridiculous to hear that, but if, Marcos Jr. claims to be a victim of, a big cover-up, and all of the things that he claims to be, then perhaps, people who've been exposed to this information about his father, his family, and, his own political career would probably feel sorry for him for being this victim, right?
In a recent Pulse Asia survey, Marcos Jr. still leads in the presidential race with 56% voter preference, far above his rival Vice President Leni Robredo's 24%. Cleve Arguelles, professor of political science at the De La Salle University, also says the organized disinformation campaign fueled how voters perceive not just Marcos Jr., but also his opponents and the issues thrown against him.
We know that this is 6 years in the making, if you will, that the Marcos family has really invested so much on the disinformation machinery that now that they only enjoying the benefits, reaping the benefits of that particular investment.
A Rappler investigative series published in 2019 found how the Marcos family tapped social media to rehabilitate their image more than 3 decades after the dictator Marcos Sr. was ousted from office in 1986. Facebook owner Meta on Thursday, April 7, announces it took down a network of 400 accounts, pages, and groups that claimed credit for attacking websites in the Philippines. Meta says the coordinated violative network worked together to systemically violate multiple policies on their platforms. The accounts in the network were found to have been engaging in violations of Facebook policies, including coordinating harassment, bullying, and misinformation and disinformation. Meta's director of threat disruption, David Agranovich, says the people behind this activity claim to be hacktivists. He adds, "These hacktivists relied primarily on authentic and duplicate accounts to host and amplify content about distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks, account recovery, and defacement or compromising websites in the Philippines." He also says the takedown is not because of what these groups are saying, who they're supporting, or who they're not supporting, but it's the way they are engaging on the platform. Meta, in its online briefing announcing the takedown, does not specify any of the pages or accounts taken down. Earlier on March 2, Rappler was able to receive confirmation from Meta that the page Pinoy Vendetta, which had been among the most active pages posting about DDoS attacks, had been taken down for repeatedly violating Facebook policies. American indie rock band LANY announces guitarist Les Priest will be departing from the group after 8 years to focus on his personal endeavors. In a statement on Thursday, April 7, LANY tells their fans they are currently working on a new album while feeling so energized about the future as they move into a beautiful year of music and touring. But their brother Les has decided to leave the band to focus on life as a writer and a producer in Nashville, Tennessee. In commemoration, the band announces special limited edition Jake Les Paul t-shirts will be on sale. Les also announces his departure on his personal Instagram account. Les writes, "I am parting ways to invest more fully in the other areas of my life. Thank you to everyone who played a part in this experience."